Good vibes only. The Mariners are now 3 games over 500 for the first time this year, thanks to Eugenio Suarez, Marco Gonzales, Taylor Saucedo, and more. Let's talk about it here on the Locked On Mariners postgame show. Colby, hit it.
You are Locked On Mariners, your daily Seattle Mariners podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Ahoy, sailors. It is Sunday, May 28th, 2023. This is Trident Gonzales and Colby Patnode for the Locked On Mariners postgame show, brought to you by eBay Motors. The championship team is about each player being a perfect fit, and that's the same with your vehicle. So for parts that fit, head on over to eBay Motors and look for the green check. Stay in the game with eBay Guaranteed Fit. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers, eligible items only, exclusions apply. Thank you so much for making us your first listen after the Mariners' 6-3 victory over the Pittsburgh Pirates. Subscribe, like, and turn on alerts if you're watching on YouTube, or subscribe and leave a 5-star review on your preferred podcast platform if you like what you hear. And if you're part of the crew and rock with us every single day, let us know in the comments below. And if you want to hear from us even more, please consider signing up for our Patreon. The link, as well as our social accounts, is in the description of this episode. As I said, 6-3, the final score from T-Mobile Park this afternoon. Mariners win their series with the Pirates and improve to a record of 28-25 on the year. Eugenio Suarez with a 3-run walk-off home run, the first for the Mariners since Cal Raleigh's drought ender against the A's last fall. Colby, you were there at the ballpark this afternoon. What was that moment like when Gino turned out the lights?
Yeah, it certainly came at the right time because the Mariners, they taxed their bullpen pretty early. They'd only use Brash for one hitter, and Sewald obviously had to come in and clean up, Justin Topa's mess and all of that. So if they didn't score there, I think we might have seen Chris Flexen in a tie game in extras. So yeah, obviously you definitely needed it, and it was good to see because Julio came up and once again in a big spot, swung out of his shoes and produced a worthless at-bat that provided no value whatsoever to the team. Kind of starting to become a running theme with him in these big moments, but he's young. I thought maybe we'd actually finally get to see Jared Kelenic just walk it off because he's had a lot of big home runs and big hits for the Mariners, but they always seem to lose those games like the next inning. So I thought maybe we might see Kelenic, do his thing, but unfortunately, Pittsburgh, little too smart to try and let that happen. So they decided to go after Gino, who was having a rough day himself. So it was obviously, huge, and it was exciting, and it was a good crowd today. Good crowd on yesterday. It was 45,000. I didn't see the exact numbers today, but I'm going to guess it was between 35 and 40. It was pretty packed crowd today as well. So good energy in the ballpark, and obviously, the vibes were definitely down after the wild pitch, and it's a tie game, and then Julio's big strikeout, and you're just kind of sitting there like, oh, if this goes to the 11th, I don't like our chances. And then Gino did his thing, and the rest is history.
There you go. There you have it. Mariners again win 6-3 over the Pittsburgh Pirates. And talking about that Julio at bat in the bottom of the 10th. Look, I know when you go on Fangraphs and you filter it for high leverage situations, his numbers actually look pretty good. But strictly speaking about moments where one swing of the bat can end the game, Julio, let's just face it, he has not been clutch. He has failed numerous times to produce in those moments, to come through in those moments. He still doesn't have a walk-off. He had a chance today, a prime opportunity for one. He had a hanging slider in the top of the zone, and instead of just trying to, not do too much with that ball, he tried to plant it 15 rows back, and he ended up missing. And again, if you're going to take a hack like that, you best not miss. Just like Eugenio Suarez when he got that hanging slider in the middle of the plate today. Just a really disappointing at bat from Julio, and one that slightly, because again, they won. So I'm not going to, hold on to this for too long, but slightly stains an overall really good day for Julio again, offensively. He had another multi-hit game, his 5th straight. That I believe ties him with King Griffey Jr. and what Alex Rodriguez, I believe the stat was that ESPN Stats and Info posted earlier today. So Julio's cooking right now. He's back, like I said. I mean, that's at least what it looks like. And but that's also what makes that at bat
Yeah.
in the 10th rather so disappointing.
Right. I mean, he, like you said, he had the 2 hits today. He also had a screaming line drive that Bay, that I believe that's who was playing center field today.
Yep.
He made a really nice catch on, and I'm not
Insane
even talking
catch.
about not even the JP one. Just the Julio liner that he came in and
the diving one. Yeah. He was great today.
Yeah, he really was. Had a double too. I think he had a couple hits today actually. So, but yeah, obviously, and that's the other thing too, is that we haven't seen Julio take big whiffs and big swings and misses like that in this last week or so. And Julio's been pretty good for the last 2 weeks, but it's really been the start of this homestand where he's really starting to turn it around. So yeah, overall, it's still a really good series for Julio. He's quietly, picking back up. He's at 242 now, 743 OPS. So obviously, you want that OPS to be at least 100 points higher, but he's getting there. So overall, it was a really good day for Julio. There's no doubt about it. But yeah, it kind of felt like that was a step back, in that situation, because I honestly assumed that they would walk Julio and go after Kelenic. But the fact that they were willing to go after Julio, maybe that tells you a little bit about who teams are more afraid of right now. But we'll see. Like I said, it was unfortunate at bat for Julio. It was set up perfectly for him. Didn't even need a base hit to win the game, and infield was in. So if he just hit a ball hard on the ground, there was a good shot he would have gotten the hit anyways, and he just came up empty and just an ugly at bat. So
yeah, really,
bummer
really
on that
one.
end, but yeah, bummer on that end. But overall, it was a good game and a really good series for Julio, and that's good to see. Obviously, if you're the Mariners, and it's nice to see Eugenio finally connect on a ball that left the ballpark, because he had, I don't know, 3 or 4 balls so far on this homestand that have just died at the warning track to dead center field, and this time he just decided he was going to put one in the bullpen for good measure. Yeah. So.
Yes. And hey, speaking of balls dying at the warning track, the Mariners had quite a few of those, especially early on in this game. They were able to sneak 2 over the wall with Julio's home run in the first, and then Cal Raleigh's a little later on, but they easily could have had 4 or 5 today and just missed them by a couple of feet. We're going to talk about one of the heroes today, one of the unexpected heroes of the day, Taylor Saucedo, in just a moment. But first, a reminder, this episode of the Locked On Mariners postgame show is brought to you by Built Bar. If you're like me and want to make healthier snack choices but don't want to compromise on taste, I've got just the thing for you. Built Bars and Built Puffs. Built Bars are healthy and taste amazing. Seriously, they taste so amazing you won't think they're good for you. You gotta try this. What makes Built Bars so good? Well, for starters, they are all covered in 100% real dark chocolate. That's right, real chocolate. And they come in unbelievable flavors like churro, peanut butter brownie, and cookies and cream. I'm not sure how Built does it, but these bars taste like a candy bar while maintaining amazing macros. And what's even better is that they are healthy. Only 130 calories and 4 grams of sugar with a whopping 17 grams of protein. And now you don't need to wait around to get yourself a box. For years, we've been talking about ordering your Built Bars at Built.com. Now you can get them at your local Walmart or Sam's Club, while you can still get your specialty flavors over at Built.com. That's right. Head to your nearest Walmart today, walk to the pharmacy section, and grab yourself a box of Built Bars. You can pick up a 4-bar box of cookies and cream bar, double chocolate bar, or coconut puff. And if you're close to Sam's Club, run in and grab a 13-bar box with our hit flavors, brownie batter puff, and churro puff. You can thank me later. And you're listening to the Locked On Mariners postgame show. Thank you so much for making us your first listen after the Mariners 6-3 victory, walk-off victory over the Pittsburgh Pirates as they take this series, get to 3 games above 500 for the first time this season. Up next, they're going to be facing the New York Yankees. Aaron Judge and the New York Yankees starting tomorrow. And you can catch all the action on the Mariners hometown broadcast with SiriusXM via the SXM app. So Taylor Saucedo came into this game. You mentioned that the bullpen was a bit taxed, and Saucedo was one of the few arms left in that unit. Scott Service goes to him, and boy, did it pay off. But not without arguably the biggest play of the game, which won't show up in the box score. To lead off the top of the 10th, Brian Reynolds singles right up the middle, and Andrew McCutchen went back to second base and ends up having to settle to stay at third. He only moves up 1 base. And look, I know that McCutchen isn't exactly the athlete that he used to be, but there's a pretty good shot that he's scoring on that play if he just runs straight to third. And
Right.
I mean, maybe it's just a base running blunder, or maybe it was actually that deke from JP Crawford. It seemed like McCutchen saw something that made him think that he needed to go back to second. That was a huge play that really shaped up how the rest of that inning went.
Yeah, because I mean, I was in the J Rod squad, so I had a pretty good view of it. It just was weird to me. I saw the ball get past the pitcher, and I was just like, okay, well, there's a run right off the bat. And then I looked up, and McCutchen was taking like 2 or 3 hard steps back to the bag, and it's in extras. Those are the little things that really can add up. And the Pirates right now, they're not playing great baseball. They've won, I think, just 6 of their last 20 at this point, or something like that. And those are the little things, and you don't expect it from McCutchen because, athleticism or not, that's just bad base running. That's not knowing where the shortstop is. That's not understanding the situation. That's a move that you would expect from, one of the younger guys on this team, not, a fringe Hall of Fame candidate. So, yeah, it was a big play. Obviously, it worked out well for the Mariners, and maybe it mattered, maybe it didn't. I mean, you can feel the snowball effect if they score a run there, and now you're playing from behind instead of tied. Who knows? Maybe Gino still hits the walk off and they win 6-4 instead. We don't know for sure, but yeah.
So Saucedo in that inning, just one hit allowed, the one to Reynolds to lead things off. He also had an intentional walk of Rodolfo Castro after falling behind 2-0. Castro, obviously a really good hitter against lefties so far this year, but 3 strikeouts for Saucedo. He gets Connor Joe, Jack Sawinski, and then Brian Hayes. He got out ahead 0-2 on Hayes with the bases loaded, and then Hayes worked a full count, fouled off a couple of pitches. And all I could think about in that moment was you calling Brian Hayes one of the most overrated players in Major League Baseball. I'm like,
he's not good. He's not good.
Like I agree. I agree that he is very much overhyped, but I was just like, there's the Colby curse. It's gonna happen.
Yeah. It's so crazy. He is like an elite, like he might be the best defensive player at any position in Major League Baseball. Insane. Cannot hit.
Agreed.
Like just
hit 4 strikeouts today. So
yeah, of course he did. He was of course because he's bad. He's not a good hitter. And people are like, oh, he's the next big third baseman. No, he's not. No, he's like Seattle Jeff Cirillo. Ooh, scary. So yeah, whatever. I like Brian Hayes is a fun player, but he is not good. Let's just be clear about that. Dude can hit. But yeah, either way, Saucedo, they went after Hayes a couple times, pitching around the guy in front of him to get to Hayes. They did that a few times today, and who could blame them? The dude can't hit. But yeah, Saucedo, 9 swings today, 5 whiffs. Like that's how you limit damage. He also had 3 called strikes. 20 pitches. Obviously, when you pitch in those big, high leverage spots, you got to be a little more careful. You got to nibble a little bit. You can't be as aggressive. So pitch counts tend to get pretty high. But yeah, Saucedo, big strikeout, big celebration. But the rest of the bullpen was really good today, with the exception of Topa. Topa struggled, and that's just going to happen. Although nothing hit hard against Topa. That is worth noting. But yeah, unfortunately, he just didn't have it. Sewell had to come in, kind of try to clean up the mess, the pass ball, or the wild pitch, I should say. That's gut wrenching, but at the same time, when you come into that situation, you're just saying, okay, just don't give up the lead. At least that's what I was thinking. So Sewell was really good, but yeah, Saucedo kind of steals the show for the bullpen, but another just quality day for the Mariners pitching staff overall.
And Saucedo, another reliever pickup this offseason. Do you know what I'm about to say, folks? Say it with me. Chills. DePuto did it again. All right. So real quick on that stat that I mentioned earlier on, the milestone that Julio achieved today. This comes again from ESPN Stats and Info. He joins Ken Griffey Jr. and Alex Rodriguez as the only Mariners age 22 or younger to have multiple hits in 5 or more straight games. So pretty good
decent
stretch
company
here for Julio. Yeah, pretty decent company. Let's talk about Marco. I said it on last night's show. It's a coin flip every time we talk about Marco. You just don't know what you're gonna get out of this guy. And I'm pleased to announce that he had probably as good of a start as you could ask for from him against this lineup. Did have the 3 walks, but only 1 earned run allowed on 3 hits or 5 2/3 innings pitched. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to finish the 6th out after his final walk of the day. 4 strikeouts. I know you were sitting over in the J-Rod squad, but what did you think of Marco's day today?
Yeah, he was nibbling quite a bit. He really didn't want the long ball to beat him. He was willing to walk guys and run deep counts to try and force them to expand the zone, and he did an okay job of that. Again, I don't feel as great, breaking down a pitcher's performance from 200 feet away instead of, or sorry, 450 feet away instead of the the television copy. So it just, I noticed, I kept on looking up, and his strike to ball ratio was hovering around 50-50 for most of the day. So he was really trying to force hitters to expand the zone to help him out. And I think he did a pretty good job. Anytime you go 5 2/3, you give up 1, like that's about as much as you could possibly hope for Marco against all non just terrible lineups. So and Pittsburgh's not a terrible lineup. They got some guys who can hit, particularly some righties that can hit. They got some pop. So yeah, I thought Marco did a pretty good job. It was the changeup show today. 30 changeups on 90 pitches. So again, it looks like he's more or less ditched the cutter. I still think he throws it too much, and he only threw it 9% of the time or 10% of the time today. That pitch is just garbage though. So yeah, changeup, fastball up in the zone, and then the curveball to kind of steal strikes. And the reason it's a coin flip with Marco is that he will not get whiffs.
Yeah,
like if he is in the
he had
strike
6
zone
today.
Yeah, on 39 swings.
Yeah.
Like he's just not going to strike you out. So if he is in the strike zone, that ball is getting put in play more often than like just an insane amount of time. And that, that creates a huge variance in your performance. So yeah, you never know what you're going to get with Marco. But today I thought he was, admittedly from afar, I thought he was pretty good, but not great. I thought he was, good enough, I guess is
Fair.
I,
Yeah, fair.
yeah, he threw 90 pitches, I think 56 strikes. Like it's not a great ratio. It's not terrible. He certainly was better at, getting ahead in the later innings, and he was able to get some weak contact. Didn't give up a lot of hard hit balls either.
Yep.
So yeah, overall he did. It was a good game for Marco. And again, you kind of have to grade Marco on a curve, especially when you try to compare him to the other 4 Mariner starters. But I would say he did his job today and then some. It was a good outing.
We're taking tomorrow off for the holiday. So I want to talk a little bit about this Yankees series because that's going to get underway tomorrow. I think you're going to the ballpark for that one as well, right?
That is the plan as of now. I have not yet bought tickets, but that is the plan.
Well, if you see Colby at the ballpark, tell him I said ahoy. He'll surely love that.
I think I'm going to get a box just to avoid that. So
before we talk about the Yankee series, which you can catch on the Mariners hometown broadcast with SiriusXM via the SXM app, I gotta ask. You tweeted about Moto Pizza. What are your thoughts? I keep on seeing this stuff on the broadcast.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I only had a slice of the pepperoni, and it's like on a French bread pizza type of thing. So it comes in like a baguette almost, and so it's only cut into 2 pieces. I had one of the pepperoni, lots of unique flavors there, but I had half of the pepperoni bread or whatever they call it. It was very good. It was very filling too. Lots of cheese, lots of sauce, loaded up with loaded off with like Italian seasoning, basil and stuff like that. So very flavorful, very good. Would recommend. So
yeah, they keep on showing it on the broadcast, and
it's apparently a big deal in Seattle.
It makes me very hungry looking at it. I got to say that it visually speaking, it is very appealing.
Yeah, it tastes very good too.
All right, so Yankees, Mariners, Bryce Miller against Aaron Judge in this Yankees lineup. What do we think, man?
I would say, this is the start where he's going to have to rely on the breaking ball and all that stuff because, the Yankees haven't seen a fastball they can't turn around. But every time I say that, Bryce Miller just likes to kind of, give me the mind middle finger and just throw more fastballs. So I'm going to assume we're going to see a lot of fastballs tomorrow again, and we'll see if the Yankees are the team that can actually do something with it. But yeah, obviously, anytime you face Aaron Judge, like you're always wondering where he's at in the lineup. Something kind of interesting happened today. I saw Anthony Rizzo got a little banged up in a collision or something with Fernando Tatis Jr. at first base. I don't know if he stayed in the game. Like I said, I was at the game, so I couldn't
Yeah. I
pay
didn't
close
see that
attention
either,
to
so
that.
I don't know.
Yeah, so we'll see what the deal is with Rizzo. But yeah, obviously, it's the Yankees. They're a pretty good lineup. You do catch a bit of a break that you're not going to see Cole. Cole pitched today.
Yep.
So you don't see Cole in this. You will see Cortez, and I think Herman gets a start tomorrow. But
yeah, the Mariners going with Bryce Miller, Logan Gilbert, and George Kirby. The Yankees countering with Domingo Herman, Nestor Cortez, and Clark Schmidt. Cortez right now pitching more like Mariners Nestor Cortez rather than the last 2 years Nestor Cortez. So you're catching him at a pretty good time.
Right, but he has a curveball, so all bets are off. Yeah, but no, obviously you're looking for Judge. Rizzo is such a great swing, and like his offensive profile fits so well in Seattle that I wouldn't be surprised if he had a big series, if assuming he's healthy, of course. And then Jake Bauers, the return of Jake Bauers.
Is he on the Yankees? I had no idea.
He's on the Yankees. Yeah. As of now,
all right.
As of now, we'll see if he makes the trip.
Bauers, Rangers, stand up.
Yeah,
let's go.
Yep. Obviously, Glaber and Oswaldo Cabrera, and at last check, Harrison Bader was having a great start to his year after being delayed by injury. So, yeah, you're going to have to pitch. But as we seem to say every single series this year so far, you kind of like the pitching advantage that the Mariners have. You like those matchups for Seattle. Has it mattered this year? No. But are we going to keep saying it? Yeah, probably. So we'll see what happens. But it should be a good series. It's one of those ones you just really hoping to take 2 of 3. And keep this, the good vibes going. But because you swept Oakland, because you took the series against Pittsburgh, if you avoid a sweep, you had a tremendous homestand. You're at least 7-3 on the homestand, and it gets you right back in where you want to be. And hey, guess what? As of today, you are officially ahead of the Angels. You're in 3rd place.
There we go. Gotta love it. Mariners 6-1,
right where we deserve to be.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Mariners 6-1 on this homestand. It would be nice to add at least a couple more wins to that tally before they go back out on the road. That's going to do it for our show. Again, you can catch the Yankees and the Mariners on the Mariners hometown broadcast with SiriusXM via the SXM app. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Locked On Mariners postgame show. For Colby Patnode, I'm Trident Gonzales. Be sure to give us a follow on Twitter at LO_Mariners. You can follow me at Dane Gonzalez. That's DANEGNZLZ. And Colby at CPAT11. That's CPAT11. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok as well over at Locked On Mariners. That's one word, Locked On Mariners. You can also find all that stuff in the description of this episode. And thank you again for making us your first listen after the Mariners 6-3 victory over the Pittsburgh Pirates. Again, we'll be taking tomorrow off for the holiday. So enjoy your holiday, and we'll be right back at it on Tuesday. Until then, have yourself a beautiful baseball day and good vibes only. Peace.